Believe it or not, I watch my words very carefully. There are those that think I'm a very stable genius.
That's Donald Trump making a fool out of himself and the rest of the country during a press conference with the leader of Finland. And that wasn't all he did to embarrass the country. He went on childlike juvenile rants about the impeachment inquiry. He made things up. He insulted European allies. It was so unbearable that at one point there was an interaction between Trump and the Finnish leader that looked like this.
Finland is the happiest country in the world.
Finland is a happy country.
What can you learn? What can you learn from Finland?
Finland is a happy country.
What can you learn? What can you learn?
I mean, throughout the entire press conference, it was Trump making a fool out of himself and the leader of Finland honestly taking some pretty subtle jabs. I don't know if other people read it the same way that I did, but we're gonna go through everything and you can judge for yourselves.
Before we do, I'm wearing my Very Stable Genius shirt. Now you might be thinking, man, they were quick on that. That's already up on shoptyt.com. He said it today. No, the reason we have it is because he said it multiple times. He said it before too. So I keep saying things that are obvious, and the crowd in Washington that believes the emperor has clothes on says, no, Cenk, you're the bad guy for saying things that everyone that is rational can see. The guy's a lunatic. If anybody walks into a bar and says to you, hey, I'm a very stable person, what do? You run for the hills because the guy's about to murder you, right? I mean, would a single woman or man, if a person walked up to him at a bar and said, I'm very stable, think, oh, that's good, the guy's stable, maybe I should give him my number. No, you would think the guy's nuts, I gotta get out of here. And that's where we are as a country. The guy's nuts. We can't leave, he has to. Impeachment, 25th Amendment, whatever. There are no people who are geniuses who go around saying, I'm a genius, I'm a genius, right? There are no people who are stable who go around, I'm very stable. And there are certainly no very stable geniuses who scream that for the whole world to see. He's an international embarrassment. McConnell's gotta be thinking, God damn it, Pelosi and Schumer, do I have to do this for you? I mean, Jesus Christ, get this guy out. He's embarrassing all of us. But no, on television, oh, I don't know. What do you think about his policies? What do you think about his strategy? The guy wants to fill a moat with alligators and snakes. He's a lunatic. And here we are, we're having a debate. We're not even having a debate about it. We're not even having a debate about it. I'm a very stable genius. God damn, look, what's the debate? The real debate is lunatic or so unintelligent that he's not a functioning adult. That's your only choices. Anyone who says otherwise is stupid.
Let's go to the first video that kind of gives you an idea of what things look like. First off, let me just remind you all that Donald Trump is facing an impeachment inquiry because he asked the Ukrainian president to do him a favor and dig up dirt on his political opponent, Joe Biden, and his son, Hunter Biden. With that context, let's take a look at the first video.
You please pick somebody who's really nice from Finland.
No,
do you have a really nice person?
For President Niinistö, because this is the biggest issue here at the moment, I have to ask, what kind of favors has Mr. Trump asked from you?
Or the other way around, you mean?
What favors I asked, or
I think you mean
asked.
the other way around.
Both ways, okay.
So the journalists in Finland don't play, and so they're asking about what kind of favors were asked during conversations with Trump. Let's go to the next clip.
Ask a question, please.
Thank you, sir.
What about Mr. Biden? What did you want about Biden? What did you want him to look into on Biden?
Look, Biden and his son are stone cold crooked, and you know it. His son walks out with millions of dollars. The kid knows nothing. You know it, and so do we. Go ahead, ask a question.
But the question, sir, was what did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son Hunter?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it was just a follow-up of what I just asked you, sir.
Listen, you ready? We have the president of Finland. Ask him a question.
I have one for him. I just wanted to follow up on the one that I asked you, which was,
did you hear
what
me?
did you want
Did you hear me?
Yes,
ask
sir.
him a question.
I will, but
I've given you a long answer. Ask this gentleman a question. Don't be rude.
No, sir, I don't want to be rude. I just wanted you to have a chance to answer the question that I asked you.
I've answered everything. It's a whole hoax. And you know who's playing into the hoax? People like you and the fake news media that we have in this country. And I say in many cases, the corrupt media, because you're corrupt. It's corrupt and it's fake. Ask the president of Finland a question, please.
Okay, I'll move on now.
Okay, so do you understand how legitimate that reporter's question is? So you talked about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden to the president of Ukraine. You've acknowledged that, no one disputes that. And you asked them, do me a favor though. So what did you want the president of Ukraine to do about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden? Now, since you're admitting you had that conversation and you asked for the favor, it is the most logical question on earth to ask you, so what is the favor? What did you want him to do? Did you want him to start a formal investigation? Did you want him to arrest someone? What did you want him to do? And by the way, if you were not embarrassed about what you did and you think there's nothing wrong with it, you'd say, oh, that's really simple. I wanted him to follow up and appoint a prosecutor to make sure that Hunter Biden was arrested or whatever it is that you wanted him to do. But he doesn't want to answer that question because he's a crook. And so he's like, you ask him the question. All right, whatever. Look, when he doesn't answer it, MAGA guys, you think, oh yeah. And he says, yeah, he must be right because he didn't want anything to happen with Biden. What he just told you he did. So what did you want to happen? You know that's a legit question. And he says the whole thing's a hoax. Which part is a hoax? You say you called the Ukrainian president and asked him to look into Biden. So what part is a hoax? There's no answers because he's an idiot.
Well, I mean, look, the way that he's tried to sell that conversation was, oh, I'm looking out for everyone. I'm trying to drain the swamp, right? That's what he keeps referring to, draining the swamp. Giuliani, his own personal lawyer, keeps referring to it as draining the swamp. So they're trying to sell this as, no, it's not about personal favors. It's not about digging up dirt on my political opponent. It's about ending corruption. This is my way of draining the swamp. So that's why I think that question from the Reuters White House correspondent that you just heard from is also important. Because, all right, if you're gonna try to sell it as helping the American people by draining the swamp, what exactly is Ukraine's role? Like, what would they do? How would this benefit Americans, right? That's really, in my opinion, what the underlying question is. And so Trump has his panic attack and says, ask the leader of Finland a question, don't ask me. And so at that point, mind you, that White House correspondent from Reuters is about to ask the Finnish leader a question. And then notice how Trump jumps in, take a look.
In your opening remarks, you said to President Trump that you had been to some museums today and that you respected the US democracy and encouraged him to continue it. Are you concerned that that's not happening? And my second question to you, sir, is the WTO ruled today in favor of the United States, saying that the United States can now impose tariffs on European goods because of illegal subsidies against Airbus.
That was a big win for the United States, right?
It wasn't.
You never had wins with other presidents, did you? But we're having a lot of wins at the WTO
this was
since
a
I
case
became
that started,
president.
I think, 10 or 15 years ago.
Okay.
But
excuse me. Your wins are now because they think I don't like the WTO and they want to make sure I'm happy. Because all of those countries were ripping off the United States for many years. They know that I'm wise to it. We've had a lot of wins. This was a $7 billion win, not bad.
But I think the question is for me.
I think the question is for me, he said. Okay.
It's amazing. He wants to take credit for things that he has not accomplished, for things that he had really no role in, right? And so he comes into office, all you get is fire and fury, all you get is chaos, all you get is nonstop turnover in his White House, right? Nothing but conflict, nothing but division, nothing but hate, nothing but migrant children dying at the border. I mean, the list goes on and on. Complete chaos in the economy right now. He is a nightmare. And instead, he stands there in front of the world, embarrasses the American people with his rhetoric and his disgusting nonsense, but more importantly, thinks of himself as this incredible leader who's accomplished all these great things, even though he hasn't accomplished anything. Most of the great things that have happened have nothing to do with him whatsoever. And I love the fact that he was called out on that.
Yeah, look, guys, it's not a matter even of style. If you said, you guys want decorum, civility, have you watched the show? No, we don't mind being tough. We don't mind being aggressive. And at times I've even given Trump credit when he aggressively challenged other foreign leaders, etc. And That's not the issue. The issue is you have to actually have some sort of rational basis for your arguments. And so when he says, okay, the Biden thing's a hoax, even though I did call Ukraine and I did ask them for a favor about Biden, okay, you can yell about it, I don't mind the yelling, but what are you yelling about? What's the hoax? Which part is a hoax? So in this case, oh, I got it done, I got it done. It's a case that's been going on for 10 to 15 years. Your lawyers continued. In fact, when I worked at a law firm, we had a case very similar, went on for about a decade. I filed the last piece of paperwork, and then it turns out that the other side decided they want to settle on my watch in a sense. But I was doing paperwork on it. I had nothing to do with it. But if I was Trump, I'd be like, yeah, it was me. They were scared of me, first year lawyer. And since I did the last memos and documents on it, it was me, right? Well, you'd be an idiot if you thought that, and that's what he is.
Now, throughout this entire press conference, there were subtle jabs by the president of Finland toward Donald Trump specifically, and this is a little bit of an example of that. Now, in the last question that you heard the White House correspondent ask, he made a reference to what the president of Finland said about America's democracy. What he was referring to is what you're about to hear from the president of Finland. Take a look.
Yes, first of all, when I referred to your democracy, I just wanted to tell that I'm impressed what American people have gained during these decades, hundreds of years, building up a very impressive democracy. So keep it going on.
So I viewed that as a subtle jab because he's trying to say, like, look, the American people have fought for democracy, have built the country over, several decades, and so keep going. And look, here's Donald Trump trying to take credit for everything, right? So I love the way that he answered that question. It was subtle. This is how smart people do their jabs.
That's right. Yeah, Anna, you're 100% right. Nobody says, hey, keep your democracy going out of nowhere for no reason. Under Obama, they weren't like, hey, you've had a democracy for decades that are doing really well. Please keep it going, right? So but he's smart enough to know that Trump is stupid enough to not understand that that was an insult towards him.
100%, yeah. I love it. So one final clip in regard to Trump's ridiculous, erratic behavior and how he keeps going after the media. Here he is with a parting shot toward American press.
Please remember the president's last remarks that we are a great democracy. The United States is a great democracy. And I'm airing what I'm airing because we are in fact a democracy. And if the press were straight and honest and forthright and tough, we would be a far greater nation. We would be a far greater when we don't have the CNNs of the world who are corrupt people. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, two things about that. One, see, he didn't get it at all. He's like, he's right. Yeah. We are a great democracy, right? No, he's taking a jab at you, you idiot. If you watch the Finnish president's gesticulations throughout, both when they were sitting, which is a separate part of what they did with the press, and when they were at the lecterns, like as you're seeing here. So in there, he even like shook his head a little bit. The Finnish president did, like, and then he puts the pen away, like, I'm finished, if you will, and then he's trying to patiently listen. And see the shaking of the head right there.
That is hilarious.
Okay, he's like, this idiot doesn't get it. And now he's attacking the press. When I was trying to tell you, keep democracy going, including a free press. And he's like, the problem is the press. You guys are all wrong. And the Finnish president's like, get me out of here.
Do we ever get a single day during this administration that isn't deeply embarrassing? Just deeply embarrassing. On the world stage, Donald Trump embarrasses us on a regular basis. It's incredible. And like, what also amazes me is you have members of the right wing in America who think that previous presidents embarrassed us, that they were apologizing for the country too much and that's how they embarrassed. No, they didn't embarrass us. I mean, they might have time to time, but Donald Trump does it on a regular basis by acting like a child on the world stage. This is a joint press conference with the president of Finland. And he's focusing on airing his grievances in regard to his criminal conduct that he's now facing investigations over.
So look, Trump voters, a lot of them, they're not following it day to day. We've gotten into culture wars. And so they're like, my culture is that I don't like Obama and I don't like you liberals, and you're trying to take Christmas away from me, and I like my guns, and I don't wanna think, okay? I just wanna lash out at you guys, I'm angry. And so I'm gonna lash out at the establishment, which by the way has some logic to it if you would just think for a second about what they're doing wrong and why they're doing it wrong and how you could fix it. Instead, you just take an orange brick like Donald Trump, you go, here, boom. Here's basically chaos for all of you guys. But if you're following Trump closely and you've seen all this and you're online and you're watching all the clips and you still think he's smart, oh God damn, that's embarrassing. Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow, if you think that guy is smart, that is painful, man. I feel terrible for you. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.